Wait. There's one thing missing. What is that, an empty space there? Hold on one second. After several months of work on the Audi S3, I'm very happy to say that it's finally done. And after that last bill that cost us right around $8, I have a final calculation of what this car costs from the time I bought it at auction all the way to today. What it has completely cost me to put back together and get in roadworthy, working, and in my opinion, 100% operational condition. So the first number you guys need to know is $13,000. That's what I paid for this car in the shape straight from the insurance auto auction. That was also my max bid. It got bid up right to 13 and then I won. Anything higher, I wouldn't have won. But before we continue to do the complete price reveal, I feel it's only fair to make the Audi S3 camera ready. This car is pretty filthy. It's been sitting up on the jack for a few days, and it gives me an opportunity to show you guys something that I've been wanting to try for almost a month now. Guys over at RapidDryTowels.com sent me one of their signature towels. They claim that you can dry a complete car in as little as 90 seconds, and that's a big deal here in Florida because we only have two types of weather. Blistering heat like I'm standing in right now and I'm starting to sweat, or we have flooding rain. Now when I'm drying a car, especially the S600, it's so big by the time I get to the other side, it's completely all filled with water spots and you really can't get them off unless you go and wash the car again. We're hoping that this is gonna solve our problem. We're gonna put it to the test. Let's wash the car. It will be a quick time lapse so you guys will waste no time. We'll see, and I'm gonna time myself. See how long it takes me to dry the Audi S3 with a rapid dry towel. Just in case you guys were doubting what I was just saying, look, I just sprayed this soap 30 seconds ago and forgot to set the camera up. I got my GoPro, and that's it. 30 seconds a minute, it's already completely dry. Down here, it's still a little bit wet, but the soapy water has completely dried on the car. And this is the sort of stuff you deal with in Florida when you're washing your car. That's why I hope that these rapid dry towels will solve my problem. That's it, guys. Let's see how long that took. 1 minute 54 seconds. That's pretty damn good. Our baseline is 155. So next time we do this test, we're gonna try and beat that. And again, hopefully beat the 90-second time. I wanna thank the guys over at Rapid Dry Towels. They sent me that. That was really nice of them. And I really enjoyed it, especially being down here in Florida. Now, if you're interested in one, definitely hit up the description box below where I'll have a link to their site. Now, let's talk about what this car cost me. Now we have one very clean and dry Audi S3, and in my hands is the itemized list of everything I put into this car. I have it set up in subsections, so it'll help you guys understand easier where I had to spend money in order to get this back to 100%. So, like I said already, the car cost $13,000. My max bid and what I won, but I had to pay over $14,000, a total $14,475 to the broker to buy the car. Now, $13,000 of that was the car. $740 of that was IAA's fee. IAA charges a buyer's premium like most auctions do. And then the broker charged another $735. Now, that is one of the downfalls living in a state like Florida. You have to pay a broker, and those broker fees can be somewhat costly. But again, if you bid, considering how much that broker's fee will cost you rolled into the price and also the auction fee, you can still make out with a really good car at a really good price. Then to ship it from Texas over here to Florida, the total was $470. That was including small tip to the driver. And the total, just to get the car in my possession in this condition, was $14,945. Now there are two primary forms of damage on this car. One, what you would call driver's side damage, and the other you would consider suspension damage. So since the suspension is kind of like Legos, it's taking things apart and putting them back together, I'm going to start with it. My first purchase was back in March from Rock Auto with a total of $55. It was a tie rod end, and a few other little very small miscellaneous things. $55 does not get you very far on a 2015 Audi. The second purchase, this is where I got the majority of the broken suspension components from the accident. Both knuckles in the front and the rear of the driver's side were cracked, causing the car to completely lean on one side. I also got an axle shaft for the front, which was broken, a little wishbone link in the back, and again, a few other little miscellaneous pieces. That total was $480 from one junkyard. I got it all off of one car, and the car only had about 8,000 miles on it. And that's a tip that I've told you guys about in the video of buying the best and cheapest auto parts. If you find a junkyard that has a car similar to what you're rebuilding and you want to buy a bundle of parts from it, always try and negotiate a package discount. They'll almost always likely do it for you because they want to sell you more parts. The next suspension component that was broken was the front control arm. It was bent, and I bought, again, a few other miscellaneous pieces for a total of $362 from the local dealership. That part I could not get from the junkyard. The rear caliper and rotor was broken and shattered in the accident. This was a strange one, something I've never seen on a car before, but it happened. And instead of going ahead and buying just pieces of the caliper, which I'm pretty sure you can do, I bought one whole brand new caliper assembly with the motorized parking brake. That was a total of $300. Now this is an interesting part of the rebuild, one that I won't be totaling the whole cost in, and I'll tell you right now why. The struts, which you've seen me do videos on, replacing both the front and the rear struts, we thought that maybe there was an issue with the struts since the car leaned a little bit in one corner. I've checked with a lot of sources now. There's a very small area for tolerance, it seems, with how the suspension sits in this car. It's only sitting about 1/4 of an inch or so lower in the back corner. A lot of you guys have told me it is the spring. It very well could be the spring, but the car rides, in my opinion, perfect. I'm not going to mess with anything right now. Maybe in the future we do lowering springs or something aftermarket, but for right now, we're going to keep it as is. That being said, I do have two brand new front and rear electronic shocks on the car. Those retail for around $1,500. I paid $750 for the pair, but I will end up selling my used one since I'm fairly certain that they do not have any major problem. Again, since these are electronic shocks, they are very expensive components. I expect to recoup at least $400 to $500. We'll go right in the middle and say that those shocks end up costing me $300. That's $300 kind of tossed into the wind, and sometimes that happens on a rebuild. There's another area where it happened here, and we're about to get to it. But for right now, the total for all the suspension components was $1,497 for a total right now of $16,442. We're not done yet. Now let's focus on the body, or the next major area of damage on this car. This badge right here, the one that I just put on, that was $35 by itself, just that tiny little badge. Retail, it costs like 60 bucks. The fender, I lucked out and I found a insurance quality fender at a local junkyard painted in the same color of my car. It doesn't always happen like that. It was awesome, and it really truly was in perfect quality with no scratches. That cost only $200, a bargain when you can find it painted in your color. The lower grille, I did a video on it. That's extremely expensive on the S3. This grill retails for around $500. In the video, I think I said I paid somewhere around $500. I went and looked at the bills. I actually was a little relieved when I saw I only paid $305, but still $305 for one of these is kind of ridiculous. The headlight on the driver's side in the accident was all smashed up. That's a pretty common occurrence in front-end collisions. Headlights are made out of plastic and they shatter. I was lucky enough to get a matching perfect condition headlight with all the bulbs and ballasts included for around $200. That's a steal. These headlights retail for over $1,000, well over $1,000 with the bulb and the ballast included. Right here, if you can see this, there's a little square that's on a lot of German cars. Behind that are headlight washers. One of mine was cracked in the accident. I bought a pair of two for $50. The windshield, this is one that shouldn't have happened. When I was working on an interior trim piece of the car, the A-pillar trim piece, which is closest to the windshield, and I was prying it off, I must have put a little bit too much pressure on it, cracked the windshield. This one was a kick in the pants, $300 for a brand new windshield. And last on the list of the body cost is what I paid the body shop in order to paint the car and also perform the labor. It included work in all these areas. The entire front bumper, the hood, the entire side of the car, and the rear bumper as well. But not the trunk lid. The trunk lid is the original factory paint. That was $1,700. At most corporate run body shops, this would cost substantially more. However, I use a smaller local body shop. In this case, I'm pretty satisfied with the job that they did, but in a future video I'll be showing you around the car and showing you a few little things that I felt they could have done better and that I'll end up just living with while I own this car. The total for everything in the body was $2,790, which brings us to a total now of $19,232. Moving on to interior repairs. Interior repairs is probably the #1 most overlooked cost when trying to calculate how to rebuild a car. Even insurance adjusters sometimes miss the cost of interior parts repair. 2 airbags deployed in this car. First one was the seat airbag. I paid $135 for that used, but of course completely intact. And the second airbag was the curtain airbag on the driver's side. That one was $200, again from the same yard I bought most of the suspension components from. Those retail for probably over double each. These were both quality used parts on 2015 A3s with really low miles. And now for the most overlooked cost, in my opinion, when it comes to rebuilding cars, seatbelt repair. I paid $350 to myairbags.com. If you watch this video right here, you'll see how that $350 actually saved me around $1,800. Now, I paid an upholstery repair shop to repair the seat and install the airbag professionally for me so that in the case of an accident it would deploy in the same fashion again. That cost was $210. For a total of $895 in interior costs. Now we're up to $20,127 and we're almost finished. The last segment is totally miscellaneous stuff. There's a little few pieces, fasteners, trim parts that I purchased when I was rebuilding this car, either from the dealership or someone local or online, and they were insignificant enough I didn't want to list it and make this video 2 hours long. So I bought 2 brand new Hankook Ventus V12 tires for this car. 2 were pretty worn. The other 2 are in really good shape, so I'm keeping those. And of course, I've got the 2 same tires on each axle, on each between the front and the back. I know a lot of people commented about that being incorrect on an all-wheel drive car. I've checked with several people and they say it doesn't matter as long as they run in the front the same and in the back the same. With multiple different dealership runs, I spent about $300 on miscellaneous fasteners and pieces, including that fender liner that we just installed. And I paid an independent mechanic $240 to help me with some of the suspension components over a few days, for a total of $740 in miscellaneous costs. We now have our grand total of rebuild costing $20,867, or right under $21,000, for a 2015 Audi S3 Premium Plus Edition, pretty much every single option that comes on a Premium Plus. Of course, you can upgrade to the Prestige, which comes with even more items. This car retails for about $52,000 new, and used it's about $32,000 to $35,000 on the really high end. I would expect this with the rebuilt title to the right buyer, as long as they saw it and appreciated the fact that it was rebuilt with quality OEM parts and rebuilt in the proper fashion, replacing and fixing everything that needed to be in the mid-20s. So all in all, I'm fairly satisfied with how this car came out. Some of you guys might say, that's ridiculous, that's way too much money, and some of you guys might think it's a great deal. And that's what I want to know from you. In the comment section below, tell me, do you think that I spent too much? Do you think that I got a good deal on it? Do you think I got an amazing deal on it? Please let me know. Remember, there's a few costs in here that could have totally been eliminated due to user error from me, or just from the learning process, you spending money on things you don't necessarily need to. It's really important to remember, rebuilding a quality car in condition that is rebuildable does actually cost something. The better condition the car is at auction, the more it's going to fetch. And I get a few people writing me from time to time wondering if they can get this really expensive Bentley for something like $5,000. And really, parts cost alone, these cars broken up will sell for a lot of money. So a savings of around 35%, like I think I achieved on the Audi S3, is fairly good, especially when you're in it to just drive and enjoy the car like I am. And this also answers another question. A lot of people wonder why you see some of these doctored up cars I've covered at the auction. And that's because doctoring them up and sending them right back through the auction is much easier than spending months like I did rebuilding it. Now again, that time frame could have been cut down shorter. There was a few little snags we had along. The next one won't take as long, at least I hope. But if you can turn a $3,000 or $4,000 profit on a car like this by just doctoring it up and sending it back through the auction, sometimes more, instead of going and spending more money, now you'll have more money invested into something you're using as a tool to make money. It just doesn't make any sense. That's why I'm not in the business of rebuilding cars, and personally it's not a business I'm super fond of. But like I said, I'm very satisfied with how the car turned out and the price I paid for. Now, if you have any questions about the S3, maybe the rebuild process, or anything of the sort, don't hesitate to contact me. Everything to do so is in the description box below. If you feel that you learned something in this video, be sure to hit that like button, and also make sure you're subscribed for future videos like this one right here. Now that the rebuild process is completely finished on the Audi S3, it's time to start coming up with ideas for the next project. And I'll need your input for that. And we'll have that discussion in an upcoming video very soon. Thanks a lot for watching.